Hi friends, today we are going to cover the topic of rising inequalities in India. You will see every year there would be some report of the Oxfam, and this topic of inequalities will be always in the news. So this can be asked in the GS1 or it can be asked in the GS3. Only difference is if it is asked in the GS1, you will be writing first geographical and social dimensions first. You will be focusing more on these points. If required, you might also even draw the diagram highlighting the regional scenario. While in the GS3 aspect, you will write more from the economic dimensions. So only the approach will differ. The points will be almost similar. So let's start quickly into our discussion. And before this, if you want more such videos for current affairs and the upcoming prelims, please like, share, and comment this on this video so that I will be able to know this thing and I will be able to share more such videos. Okay, let's start our discussion. This is the recent report of the Oxfam, particular to India, specific to India. See this report. The top 10% of the population get 57% of the national income. This is about the income. See, top 10% is having the 57% of the income, and top 1% has the 22% of the income. And while coming to the wealth, this is the wealth accumulated thing. Okay, the top 10% of the population controls 65% of the total nation's wealth. So such facts are very important to be provided in the exam so that to substantiate your answer, to show how this inequality is there in India. Now, what are the types of inequalities? So there can be income inequality, which we have seen here. A regional inequality. What is this regional inequality? Regional inequality means, like say, you can have state-wise, interstate inequality, right? Interstate inequality or intrastate inequality. Intrastate means, for suppose now within like erstwhile Andhra Pradesh. Okay, within the erstwhile Andhra Pradesh was considered to be relatively more developed than the other part of the Telangana. So that is considered as an intrastate. Even if you consider the present example, within the Telangana, only Hyderabad is considered to be developed, while the surrounding areas are not well developed. Now, interstate disparity means consider your South Indian states like say Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. Okay, these states are more developed than your Jharkhand, Bihar, these kind of states. And even the intrastate, you can also say within the Karnataka, the northern part is less developed than the southern part of the Karnataka. Okay, there can also be bigger regions, broader regions, like say north versus south. Southern regions have the more better developmental indicators like your HDI, your gender inequality performance, your hunger performance. So southern states are performing well. This is called the regional inequality. Then gender inequality, that is male versus female. Sectors of economy, we know that agriculture, industrial sector, and service sector. Okay, so disparity of growth between these three sectors. How there is a disparity, like you guys know, agriculture contributes. Like recently, we have seen the data, the statistics. Agriculture contributes to 15% of the GDP. Industrial sector contributes to nearly 25% of the GDP, and service sector contributes to rest of the 60%. Okay, this will be varying somewhere 2 or 3% here and there. Okay, so this is the scenario, but this is the contribution of the national income, right, to the GDP. Now, what about the employment? Here itself, you will understand the reasons of the inequality. So nearly directly or indirectly, nearly 50% to 60% of the people are dependent on the agriculture. Okay, while coming to the service sector, it is approximately around the 20%. Now see, 60 rupees within the share of 100 rupees, 60 rupees is being taken up by the 20 members, and here 15 rupees are being taken by the 50 to 60% of the people, and rest of the money, okay, that is the rest of the employment is being provided by the industrial sector, that comes between 20 to 25%. Okay, so this is the one of the reason for the inequality. Okay, now you already know why this is causing inequality. The average income of the agriculture sector is 10,000 rupees. Okay, you already know this is the monthly income. You already know the average income in the service sector, especially like your IT industry. You might be having your friends, they might be drawing somewhere around 1 lakh, 2 lakhs. So they're receiving at least 50,000. So there is widespread disparity of incomes. Okay, and there is a problem of huge disguised unemployment. Now see, it is generating only 15 rupees, but 50 to 60 percentage of the people are dependent on it. That means the job which can be done by 5 people are being done by the 10 people. So the rest of the 5 people are actually unemployed, but they are somehow involved in the working activity. This kind of employment is called the disguised unemployment. Okay, they are actually not needed, but somehow they are being employed. So this is causing one of the reason of the inequality. So widespread disparity in the sectors of economy. This is the one of the reason that you guys should be remembering. Okay, so coming back to our discussion. Okay, we'll come back to these points, causes and reasons of inequalities again. So let's come back to the types. So you need there are sectors of economy and there are also religion. Okay, one of the type of the inequality is religion based. Like say you have Hindus, Buddhism, okay, Jains, Muslims, Sikhs. So there is a unequal growth between the different religious group. Okay, just this is one type of the inequality that is there in India. Now, what are the causes? Okay, let's assume that this question was asked in the GS1. So what will you write here in the GS1? First, you will talk about the geographical causes. Geographical causes. What are the geographical causes of such inequalities? One thing is you can talk about the difficult terrain, right? You can talk about the difficult terrain. What does it mean by difficult terrain? Like you have the hilly areas, hilly areas. You might have desert areas, desert areas. You might have the drought prone areas, drought prone areas, right? Saline lands, bad lands. All these lands are actually not productive, right? And doing economic activity here is bit very difficult, right? So the income generated by the people on these regions are different. Or for suppose if the person is earning from the urban area, they will be having some edge compared to the people living in the hilly areas, desert areas, drought prone areas, because the people living here will have more employment opportunities, more accessible to resources, more accessible to the administration. So this is one of the cause, because the resources, the conditions are severe here. That is also one of the reason why the people are relatively having drawing less income here. Then second thing is the same thing. You can talk about the difficult terrain, okay, and then you can also talk about the climate. Okay, climate, harsh climate, like harsh climate, extreme forms of the climate. Like say you can talk about the same thing, desert areas, drought areas, more variabilities of the rainfalls. Those things you can talk about, and the areas closer to the border areas, people living nearby to the border areas, relatively relatively less developed, relatively less developed. So these are the geographical reasons. You can also highlight these things on the map. You can draw a small diagram. Okay, you can draw the small diagram, and you can show them on these things. Okay, let's say you can show, okay, let's say the hilly the border areas, you can show like these parts of the these parts. Okay, the parts of the border areas. Now this is the, you can show as a kind of drought prone area. Okay, so this thing is a kind of drought prone. Okay, and this thing can be shown as a kind of hilly and the border areas. So these are the hilly and border areas. Okay, geographical reasons for the inequality. You have to give the name. So whatever the things that we have mentioned here, you mentioned here, figure A, geographical reasons for the inequality. So like this, you can show. Then what are the social reasons we have? Social reasons. Under the social reasons, you can mention firstly, the gender discrimination. What kind of gender discrimination are we talking about? So when you talk about the gender discrimination, you can also talk about the transgender, but let's talk about the women. So here again, you substantiate the female labor force participation rate for the participation in the labor force for the female. It is less than 25%, while for the male, it is nearly close to the 40%. What is the labor force? The female labor force participation rate. What is the labor force? Labor force means the people who are working as well as looking for the work. Looking for the work. See, within the young age population or working age group, only 25% of the people are present in the labor force. Okay, while it is for the 40% for the male. Now, what is the reasons for this thing? What are the reasons for this thing? This itself can be independent question. So when the question is asked about the inequality, you don't have to talk about all the reasons. You can just mention a couple of reasons. So like say there is a kind of discrimination for women from cradle to grave. Cradle to grave. This is called the life cycle approach. From the time of the birth till the death of the woman, there is some form of discrimination, or like Amartya Sen said, there is a missing woman. Missing woman. Okay, like during the stage of the birth. Okay, during the stage of the birth, uh, there is a issue of the female feticide. Okay, female feticide. We are talking about the issues faced by the woman from the cradle to grave. Female feticide. Then woman is being discriminated. Like say, if you have one boy child and one girl child, then boy child will be preferred for schools. Okay, the dropout rates for the girl child is more. Dropout rates are more. Then at the stage of the adolescence, there is more probability of girl child getting married. Okay, this is called the early or child marriage. Okay, child marriage. So, and also the gross enrollment ratio of the women. So as a result, as they move from the primary to the secondary schools, it will reduce. Okay, from secondary to the higher school, it will reduce. And also at the stage of the unemployment. Firstly, the female participation in the labor force itself is low. Then again, the female getting employed, again, it is very less. It can be because of the various reasons. Now, the women are expected to take responsibilities at home as well as the office. Now, that is called the dual burden. Okay, I'm not going totally into this because the topic is inequality. So I'm just giving an idea. Okay, there is issue of glass ceiling effect. Glass ceiling effect. Then there is a problem of twisted sisterhood. Twisted sisterhood means woman itself is not encouraging. Like let's say sister-in-law, mother-in-law. Okay, so they are not supportive to the woman. Okay, so that is also causing the problems of the unemployment, not having enough skill force. Okay, or you drop out from the work, you take a leave from the work for the parenting purposes. So parenting is just seen as a kind of woman's role. So that is also a reason why there is more unemployment in the women. Then also sexual harassment at the workplace. So there are various reasons. So because of all these reasons, the women's income is less compared to the male. So this is one of the thing. Then you can also in the same way talk about the transgender. Then you can also talk about uh, caste. Okay. So presence of untouchability, presence of untouchability. Okay, lack of awareness of rights, lack of awareness of rights. Okay, then you can talk about the tribes. Okay, living in the remote areas. These people living in the remote areas, and their economic activity is primitive, means they are still living on the hunting. Okay, hunting, gathering. So obviously their incomes will be less. So whether they are happy or not, that is again different discussion. Some people say they are happy in that mode of economy. Who are you to say the income they are receiving is less and so they are unhappy? Okay, so let them live the way they want. So this is one way of looking at the things. Okay, so that is, however, okay, but this is also causing one of the reasons for the inequality. And then religion. because certain sections of the religion are backward, like say such a committee, you can say. Okay, the number of Muslims present in the administrative services is 3%, while the population of the Muslim is 15%. You can also mention okay, recent reports where the amount of lands under the name of vulnerable sections like SC or ST is low. Okay, they have a very less amount of land rights under them. Okay, so these are the certain things that you can mention under the social conditions. Then we will come to the economic conditions, economic reasons. Now, if the question is asking you in the GS3, then you will talk about this aspect first, economic reasons. If the question is asked in the GS1, so you will talk about these things. However, you will also talk about these things. Okay. So what is economic reasons? So one thing, like we have mentioned already, sectoral disparity. Sectoral disparity. Then second thing, uh, uh, problems with with the 1991 new economic policy. See, before this new economic policy, we were strong with the agriculture. Now, every economy should transition from the agriculture towards the industrial sector and from there towards the service sector. But for us, in case of India, we have directly jumped from agriculture to the service sector. So, industrial sector was bypassed. Like economic survey said, there was a premature deindustrialization in India. Premature deindustrialization in India. Now, what is the problem? No, see, for the service sector to grow, okay, only skilled workforce will get more jobs, like say doctors, educators, teachers, anything. Okay, maybe hotel management. This need little bit of the skills. For the majority of the semi-skilled and unskilled workers, industrial sector will provide majority of the jobs. Okay, in order to get a growth, which is also providing you jobs. So, in growth of the industrial sector is very much important. Okay, or else our growth will become the jobless growth. It will become the jobless growth. Okay, this is what we are seeing. We are looking at. There is a scenario of the jobless growth. Why? Because the labor intensive sectors, the labor intensive sector, what are those? The labor intensive sector means those sectors which can accommodate huge amount of the labors, like the textile sector. You can say textile sector, then leather industry. Within this textile, you can talk about cotton. So that's why if you see this thing in the news, government is promoting this cotton industry. Okay, then your jute industry, all those things. Okay? So leather industry, automobile industry. So those things you can talk about, and even recently, food processing industries are also providing good amount of the employment. So then again, you can also say about the MSMEs problems. MSME problem. Okay. Okay, once the economic survey said, okay, there is the problems of dwarf MSMEs. Okay, so generally MSMEs are those which are having small amount of investment. They are expected to grow in size, like this, grow in size and provide the more amount of employment. But these MSMEs are remaining dwarf because they are facing their own problems. What are these problems? They are not getting credit. They are not getting enough amount of technology. They are not getting enough amount of the capital. Okay, so because of various reasons, they are not able to promote their products. Okay, promotion, marketing, all these things are not there. So that is also the reason these MSMEs are not growing. And one of the another important reason for these MSMEs is they are present in the informal economy. This informal economy. Okay, this informal economy is also the reason where there is a widespread inequality present between the people. Why this thing is a major problem? Informal economy or unorganized sector, this is also causing the self-employment. Self-employment. Now, this thing is very broad. 90% of the Indian economy is the informal economy. And this informal economy is responsible for providing of the self-employment. 50% of the jobs in India is through self-employment. Now, you can see local pani puri, local chip shops, local dahi vada, all those things. Small vendors are there. No? So these are the self-employment. Now the returns for this thing are very less. The amount of money they will be able to generate is very less. Then they do not have the social security. Okay, any kind of let's say COVID kind of crisis happened. Okay, all the shops will be closed. Some kind of health issue has happened. Now these shops will be closed. Now the income will be the problem. Then the problems of then there is a problem of lack of enough education and health education, problems of health education. The government is not able to provide enough health and education to its people. Right now, what is this happening with this? Okay, if the education and the health are not being provided by the government, now the people have to spend a lot of money on this thing. Let's say you are the person who has some 25 lakhs of wealth in your savings, 25 lakhs of wealth, okay, and your income is somewhere around 25,000. Let's assume this thing. Now you got sick, okay, you got sick and you got bedridden, and you have been diagnosed that you need a surgery which is costing you 30 lakhs, and you got bedridden for 1 year. Now see, suddenly 25 lakhs means it is a good amount of wealth. Now due to health issues, now you have to spend additional 5 lakhs. You do not have any assets with you. Now you got poor. Okay, so poverty is again dynamic. So lack of safety in terms of the health and education. Okay, that is also one of the major reason. And then you can also talk about this thing can also be written in the social reasons. Okay, along with this, lack of insurance facilities in India. Lack of insurance penetration in India is also another reason. Okay, lack of insurance penetration. Okay, apart from this, you can also add the fourth major reason. Okay, security related reasons you can add. Okay, security related reasons means the problems of Naxalism. The problems of Naxalism you can talk about. Okay, so because of this thing, red corridor is backward. Red corridor is backward. Okay, the problems of separatism. Okay, the problem of separatism. Okay, the reasons why northeast parts of the your Kashmir region is backward because the investments are not happening. So these are the certain security related and border areas also you can add here. Okay, border areas you can add here. And see, economy, in the economy you can add more points. Okay, let's say you can also add about uh decrease of investment. Okay, decrease of investment. Okay, what is this investment means? Investment means nothing but capital goods. So what is our investment percentage when compared to the GDP? Currently it is around 32 or 33 percentage. Once it used to be more than 40 percentage. Okay, China stayed at this level for almost 1 decade, so it was able to reduce its poverty. But we could say we could stay at this 40 percentage for 1 or 2 years only. So we could not create enough employment. Only if the investment levels reaches the 40 percentage for at least okay, one decade, then you will be able to promote the investment. So that's the reason, as the private sector is not investing, government is increasing its capital expenditure. So if you have seen the last 3 years, the capital expenditure is consistently increasing, and this is also increasing our fiscal expenditure. Okay, you can also add one more point. Okay, rise of the rise of fiscal expenditure, freebies. State governments are involved in the freebies. Okay, so as a result, they are not able to invest in the infrastructure. Yeah, I forgot one more problem. Okay, and you can add up the infrastructure. Okay, for the infrastructure also, like national infrastructure pipeline, this is they need 111 lakh crore. Okay, 111 lakh crore. Now, where is the money? Where is the money? Okay, we are already facing fiscal deficit of 6 percentage, 6.5 percentage. Where is the money? Okay, so these are the reasons why there is a problems of the inequality in India. Okay, so this thing are mentioned here. Another thing is low tax to GDP. It is 16 percentage of the GDP, while in the developed countries it is somewhere 33 percentage to 40 percentage. Why there is low tax to GDP? It is there on my Telegram channel. Please go through this thing. Okay, then we have discussed about the informal regions. Then we have discussed about the, yeah. Then another point is, I will also take up one more session someday on the black money and the corruption. There is a problem of the parallel economy that is running. So as there is a parallel economy that is going on, this money becomes unaccounted, unreported. As a result, government will get less amount of the tax. As a result, the amount of fiscal space with the government is less. So there will be again the problems of the inequality. And recently there was an issue of the COVID. When the COVID was hit, okay, so few sectors grow very well, and these sectors which grow very well were sectors which have more technology oriented and the sectors with agriculture. Again, this was also the reason why there is an inequality. Okay, we have also seen the issue of the inflation, which has eroded the purchasing power. So addressing these problems, we have the policy measures. Okay, someday I will again take up these policy measures. I want to keep it video short. I hope you guys understood the concepts. You can also go through these points. They are self-explanatory in nature. Please like, share this video, and also comment. Okay, okay. The more the views and the more the responses, I will try to do more and more such videos, keeping in the mind upcoming state exams as well, and the prelims as well. Okay, bye bye. All the best, all of you. Thank you. Have a good day.